Mataji's and Pranam. So I'll just open up the presentation. Maybe before that, I think we wanted to discuss about a couple of things. Am I audible now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So one thing that really wanted to say is that thank you so much for joining. That we are in a situation where all over the world everybody is suffering. So there is no discrimination in terms of when it comes to the material nature. It doesn't discriminate one person over the other. But unfortunately, though as devotees we are supposed to be equally composed in whatever situation it is in. But then when devotees, really exalted devotees suffer, we need to intensely pray to Krishna for their well-being and for their health and so on. So from that point of view, actually we really want to sincerely pray for the better health of His Holiness Bhakticharu Maharaj, and we will even offer these sessions at which we are conducting doing together. We want to offer this sacrifice to Maharaj's well-being. Maharaj has been such a great servant of the moment, especially distributing pure bhakti all over the world. We are really blessed to have such great disciples of Prabhupada with us, and Maharaj has been so. I mean, many of you would have watched that video where Maharaj was telling in Ujjain in his class that I want to be in the forefront. Leaders cannot just be hiding behind; they should be on the forefront, fighting leading the fight, not just standing behind the soldiers and giving them commands. I mean, Maharaj has been leading by example, and we have to sincerely pray for his, because we need guidance of such great souls for all our, for all the future generations. Basically, we had some brief association only with Maharaj, but they were like really pleasant and worth remembering for a long time, for all our life, really. Once I remember, it was a very small thing that Maharaj said, but that stuck to me so deeply. In a class in New Vrindavan, in US, almost 20 years ago, Maharaj had come there, and he gave such a beautiful class. It's so refreshing, so relishing, and in the class, actually, when we were listening to Maharaj, and Maharaj was saying something very interesting. He said there are 18 Puranas, out of which 6 are in Tamagun, 6 are for the people in Tamagun, and 6 are for the people in Rajogun. And then Maharaj stopped and said, 5 are there for the people in Sattvagun. Then I was thinking, some count is wrong. Because usually we say 6 in Tamagun, 6 in Rajogun, and 6 in Sattvagun, right? So Maharaj stopped and said, so 5 in Tamagun, 5 in Sattvagun. Then he stopped and then he said, 1 in Shuddha Sattvagun, and that is Srimad Bhagavatam. It just stuck to my mind. The moment he said that, I was like, okay, so this is the right way of approaching Bhagavatam. And many times Maharaj used to come, and he would be part of the Adhyatmas, and he would give such nice classes. And one thing we always remember about Maharaj's greatness, that he not only just appears sober, but his classes and his heart, everything is so sober and so kind and loving. So we are really blessed to have such great devotees association. Another thing we remember very vividly is that 10 years ago, when our spiritual master, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, left his body, that time it was His Holiness Bhakticharu Maharaj and Radhanath Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, everybody was there. But Bhakticharu Maharaj, I think once in the in Nasik temple, when they were doing Arati, Maharaj was singing Jaya Nilo Premadana. Everybody just went to tears, really. I mean, not a single person was there who didn't have tears in their eyes. So it was an amazing thing. And when Maharaj was put to rest in the Samadhi, it was Maharaj who did who wrote the sannyas mantra in the chest of our Guru Maharaj. And we were so thrilled because, even when Prabhupada left, Prabhupada was put in the rest. I think I'm right, but this is the same His Holiness Bhakticharu Maharaj who was there and did write the sannyas mantra and Prabhupada's body also. So, I mean, it's something which is really significant, because the thing is the kind of love that such great souls like Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, Holiness Bhakticharu Maharaj, Holiness Jayapatak Maharaj, all of them, they are giving us, especially in the absence of our spiritual master, in physical absence, I would say, because he's always with us eternally. The thing is, we feel that, this larger society, larger family of our Society of Krishna Consciousness, we are never orphaned. We always have our God uncles, and I mean the senior Vaishnavas, and our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, and all the wonderful devotees. So really, thank you all for this nice opportunity. And whatever we are discussing today, it's nothing but mercy of all those great exalted souls who have sacrificed their life for all of us. So let's continue our discussion with this consciousness. It will be really soothing for us, and it also will be purifying for us. So let me start off with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Sucha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham mande Shri Guru Niyatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Namo Vishnu Pada Vishnu Prata Putri Srimati Mahavishnu Swami Nityaname. Namo Vishnu Pada Vishnu Prata Putri Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityaname. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Charine Vishesha Shunyavadi Puschatana. Share my screen. Oh, probably you may have to make me co-host. It's saying, say disabled participant screen sharing, bro.
Prabhuji, I think you are co-host right now.
I think you made one as co-host. There's another one, KK. You try that. There are two names. One is Sudarshana Slava.
It should hopefully then work.
Now it should work. Yeah. The screen share. Should I do the screen share or should I just do the slideshow? I'll do it like this.
Slideshow is slightly better because it's slightly bigger, but if whatever is convenient for you.
Is it okay now?
Yes, yeah, this is good.
This is okay, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Prabhus and Matajis, in last two sessions we covered about the glories of Bhagavatam and some of the topics which covered last week, right? Especially Prabhupada's quotes and some tips from salient instructions from Surnas Mahavishnu Maharaj and a few things. We started off with that. Now, we briefly started off with the overview of study methods. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is so vast that there are unlimited ways of studying. Due to brevity, say we had to keep it short. So number of things, whatever we had learned over the years, we are just discussing about those points. Now, the first thing we did was, we did 3 different types of studies within which there are sub-classifications we had. So today we will focus mainly on the recitation part, the significance of it and how do we approach it and so on, right? Of course, you will have some little, few different ways of reciting and so on. Then the running reading is something which is more, we may not have any demo of it because it's more self-explanatory, but we will discuss the benefits and the benefits, what we have to be watching out for while doing this kind of an exercise and so on. And deep study is again where we will have some more demos and some more group activities, etc. And compared to last week, one additional item that I had added to the deep study is one last item is the group study. Right. This is coming up something. Okay. So this group study is something which we will be discussing more in detail. This, what we will do is we will have the different the roles of there should be a facilitator and participants and so on. Those things we will go into the depth, and we will also do a little bit of group activity on the same if time permits. So, but today we will focus on recitation, and if time permits, a little bit on the running reading parts as well. Going forward, before jumping into it, let's discuss a few salient points that we had gathered over the years from our spiritual master, who gave some important tips about the approaching Bhagavatam. Somebody wants to read this quote?
Yeah, Guruji, I'll read.
Oh, Jainarahari Prabhu, you have joined. Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah. You should be seriously inquisitive. Seriousness means go through each word carefully. In Sanskrit language, half the words are words in our own language. So why don't you dig into your own heels? Why don't you try these things and ask me questions about how to do it? It is not that I go on speaking and you go on hearing. No, this is not the way. That's why we have to do this scrutinizing study. Those students who are seriously inquisitive, only they can realize the supreme absolute truth.
So this Maharaj just sometimes when he is really upset with us, he will speak like this, But I somehow found that there is 2 important things that Maharaj highlighted: is seriously inquisitiveness, one thing, And then another thing is scrutinizing study. This seriously inquisitive, Prabhupada in that Bhagavatam 1 to 12, it is in Tat Shraddhadhana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyantyatmani Cha Atmanam Bhaktya Shrita Grihitaya. In that, there is a beautiful line, devotional service which is based on the foreground of full knowledge, combined with detachment from material association, and which is fixed on the oral reception of the Vedanta Shruti, is the only perfect method by which a seriously inquisitive student can realize the absolute truth. In that, fixed by the oral reception of the Vedanta Shruti, Maharaj will highlight that as it includes basically our primary books, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And Vedanta Shruti is this nothing but our Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So, devotional service, which is based on the foreground of full knowledge. So, Bhagavatam gives us knowledge, Bhagavad Gita gives us knowledge, and which is fixed by the oral reception of the, combined with detachment from material association. And naturally, Vairagya is part of it, it comes as part of our Bhagavatam. Then, which is fixed by the oral reception of the Vedanta Shruti. So, fixed by the oral reception means when we are orally receiving this messages from the deep messages from Srimad Bhagavatam, then our devotional service is completely rooted, Prabhus and Matajis. That's what is really needed for us. Otherwise, it will be shaky that one day we'll be really nice in our consciousness, another day we'll be completely bad in our consciousness. So those kind of moving this way and that way will not help. So we have to be steady. So Maharaj used to say something very nice, that this word steady and study are both closely related. One who studies deeply, they will be steady in devotional service. So that scrutinizing study is very, very important. And how to scrutinize, we will go through over the next few sessions, whatever. But the thing is, this is very important for us to remember. We have to be seriously inquisitive, and we have to scrutinizingly study the scriptures. And the second thing is, again, as Maharaj says, we can't be dependent on others for everything. We have to dig into our own heels. So this is one point. Someone want to read the next one? This Maharaj is expanding on that, digging into our own heels nicely in this. Some echo is coming, Prabhu. Sumit Prabhu. Somebody is reading now?
Pundarik Prabhu?
Sorry, yes, my obeisances, everybody. Hare
Krishna.
If you put your head into these scriptures to understand each word and try to learn the Sanskrit, that is known as digging into our own heels. It's a nice phrase in English. It means that we don't depend on anyone else. We depend on our own selves. That is required for studying Shastras. How long are you going to depend upon others? Be self-sufficient.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for reading that out. This one statement should not be misunderstood for we don't even depend on our gurus or senior devotees or whatever. It is that over-depend. Prabhupada writes that beautiful statement in 1.1.10 Bhagavatam. Overeating, over-sense gratification, over-dependence on others' mercy, and artificial standard of living. These 4 items, he says, sap the very vitality of human energy. This over-dependence on others' mercy is a vast subject. It is, many times we say, oh, are we not supposed to depend on our Vaishnavas? Are we not supposed to depend on our Guru? That is there. But the thing is, Gurus and senior Vaishnavas, their blessings are really valuable when we appreciate that mercy. So the point is, we have to, and what they will do, they will give their mercy when they see that we are actually endeavoring ourselves. Like last week, we saw that one's own endeavor. So when we put our own energy and effort into studying, then the help will come from above. When we sit silently waiting that, okay, whenever the help comes, I will start my work, that is not the right way. I mean, that is not what Prabhupada wanted us to do. So this digging into our own heels means like nobody will be there to help us. We are not like, okay, that devotee comes, I will study Bhagavatam. This devotee comes, I will do some devotional service. Those things won't work. We have to be on our own, in the sense we have to be self-sufficient. Means I am alone there now, and I want to, I don't have anybody, but that does not mean I won't do Bhagavatam. Let me sit alone in a corner and read Bhagavatam. Like Maharaj used to say that your devotional service is tested by how long you can alone sit with Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and study. In a corner of a room, shut down all mobiles and your computers and everything. Just simply sit in a corner and keep meditating on it. How long can you sit? That is the real. Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada's books, they are all giving us their association. Prabhupada is giving his association through that. So we don't need to be like, always running around to look for, only when the service is there we have to do. But we need to have some quiet corner every day for say half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever time you want to allocate. But that quiet corner should be yours. It should be yours and Krishna's, that nothing else. That will help us really. All the realizations will come by that one thing. And of course, group studies are there when it is needed. When Krishna arranges for it. But he will not arrange the group study, he will not give that opportunity for group studies or devotee association until he is confident that we can enjoy Bhagavatam even without such association. So that is a very, very obvious thing we can realize. Anyone has any questions here?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. There's some echo, Prabhu, Chandra Prabhu, when you speak.
Okay, now is it okay?
Maybe you can type the text, Prabhuji, if you can be on mute, and then maybe I can answer that.
Is it okay now?
Now it is better, Prabhu. Maybe it is
Okay,
on two places. Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I wanted to ask you, like, especially the Sanskrit verses, the pronunciations are so difficult sometimes. So how do we go about that? Because
yes, Prabhu. So we will
find that
very shortly we will be covering that, Prabhu. In another couple of slides, we'll be covering that. I know you were asking for it last week also. I mean, I know that we will be covering it today. So Krishna willing. So just a few more things to cover, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So this is one thing is very important. In this, at this point, I just wanted to share a very nice discussion I had with His Grace Radhesham Prabhu in the last few weeks, about a month ago. I had a chat with him, just wanted to discuss with him about his association with Maharaj Maharaj, and we were collecting some memories and so on. So he said something very interesting when he first met, when Maharaj went to Pune and he addressed the devotees in the class, So when one of the brahmacharis, Maharaj was actually giving a class to brahmacharis basically. So one of the brahmacharis at the end of the class got up and said, Maharaj, my senses are so disturbing that I am not able to control them. Then how can I progress in devotional service? So Maharaj said, just get married. And that devotee thought that Maharaj has not probably heard my question properly. And again he repeated, and then he said, just get married. Then he thought, how maybe someone should explain. Then Maharaj said, I told you to get married, but not to a girl, but get married to Bhagavatam, he said. So everybody was surprised, how we can get married to Bhagavatam. So then Maharaj went on to say something very, very interesting about getting married to Bhagavatam. Then he said, you mean you always be with Bhagavatam. That is what is being married to Bhagavatam. So then Maharaj, but I am not. Then he said, just like a newly married husband and wife, the husband takes his wife, wraps. Not wraps. He puts on nice new sari, silk sari, and likes to take her around to do all the places wherever he wants to go more around. So you also wrap Bhagavatam in a nice silk cloth and then take it with you wherever you go. Then this devotee again was telling that, Maharaj, but if I simply carry it with me, I will not study. I said, I didn't ask you to study. I asked you to only simply carry. But then he said, Maharaj, but if I simply carry without studying, what is the point? And he said, no, you don't think so. If you just simply keep carrying it with you, then you will automatically, power of Bhagavatam is such that one day it will force you to take and open and read. You will have to open and read. And then Maharaj went on to say further that just like newly married, say a couple, they take pleasure in each other association. They like to be around with each other. So you also have to always be around with your with Bhagavatam and be fond of associating with Bhagavatam for a long time. And like when they talk to each other, it won't feel like they are. It will feel like they are. The time is passing away in moments, right? They'll spend long time, but it won't feel like so. So like that, you will not feel the time passing away also. And then another thing that Maharaj said was that just like the husband feels, man feels very sheltered, within the association, very soft and soothing association. So he will feel sheltered in the association of his wife. So you will also feel sheltered. You will also develop that when you develop that relationship with Bhagavatam, you will also feel sheltered by the grace of Krishna in the form of Bhagavatam. So Maharaj was giving all these things, and all the brahmacharis were feeling so much, like very thrilled and very appreciated. Appreciating this this way of seeing it, And then one thing also is that this marriage thing cannot be stretched, because normally marriages are not as pleasant as it is when. I think there's some sound is coming from somebody's thing is not muted. So this marriage thing, we cannot stretch it to the usual marriage beyond our usual married life beyond a certain point, because not all marriages are like pleasing for all the lifetime, because after some time the material thing starts between the husband and wife. But that is why Maharaj compared it to newly married couple, like how a newly married couple take pleasure of each other's association. Like that, every day we should newly marry. Maharaj used to say that every day you should initiate. Every day you should initiate yourself. Like early morning you should get up and you said, I'm newly initiated person. I'm not like 20 years I am in the initiated, I am the movement. Like that, you should never think. Every day morning you should get up, you do initiate yourself with Mangalarti. You initiate yourself by reading Bhagavatam, by chanting, like that. So we every day we feel fresh in that association of Bhagavatam. So there is nothing like, oh, so many years I'm reading, I'm feeling bored. Never like that. Maharaj said one day that devotees never reach a dead end in their life. So it's always flowing like a river. We are always going. And Bhagavatam helps us very much in that progress in our pure devotional service. Prabhupada wanted us to do pure devotional service. Bhagavatam talks only about pure devotional service, and that's the best means for us to execute our bhakti in a pure form. So we'll carry further. If anyone has any questions, I see some chats. I hope Sumit Prabhu, I hope you are.
Yeah, no questions so far, Prabhuji.
Okay, so we'll continue. So the next one is, I will read it, it's a short one. This is very relevant to today's discussion, of course. A hypnotic effect of Sanskrit language is inevitably lost during translation to other languages. Here, because Maharaj is a Sanskrit scholar himself, and he used to relish all the slokas. Even before joining the movement, he knows the beauty of Sanskrit language. And he relished it all the more, especially when reading Prabhupada's translations and so on. So he said, like 2 sessions ago, we saw this support by Maharaj, where he said, I think last week, he said, where Maharaj said, with all due respect to Srila Vyasadeva, the purports are more pleasing, sweeter than the actual verse itself, right? So Maharaj tells another point here: the hypnotic effect of the Sanskrit language is inevitably lost during translation to other languages. The beauty of Sanskrit language is that even if you don't understand it, still you will enjoy it. Like many times we see devotees, reciting the slokas, hearing the slokas, the mantras. It is so pleasing to the ears, it is so powerful, and it has such an effect. It's actually, Maharaj said, a hypnotic effect. We don't know how that effect is coming through, but the effect is really impactful. And it creates a very nice positive vibration, as you know. And Maharaj also used to say that it actually purifies the blood in our body, because the power of the Sanskrit language is that because we have to move our jaws so much, and also our mind is getting cleansed, our circulation, the blood, and our bodily limbs, everything will become rejuvenated simply by chanting and hearing the various mantras and shlokas, right? So that is one thing. And the next thing is, someone wants to read this one?
I will read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Similarly, a shloka a day keeps the miseries at bay. So, for our own benefit, let us start reciting Srimad Bhagavatam.
It's a very short and sweet note. So, we will go further. So, someone wants to read this one?
Whenever, shall I read?
Yes, please, Mataji.
Whenever you, whenever you study the shloka, please write the points definitely so that you will know where to use it. First, study only 10 verses, but master them. Then you will have plenty of references here and there. But the serious study has to be taken. Serious study cannot be done in courses. You have to be self-sufficient. You should not be allured by thinking that simply by joining the course, you will know everything. Instead, I told you to study one verse today, and that is lifetime capital for you. If you learn that verse properly, it is your lifetime capital.
So this lifetime capital is something very interesting. So the lifetime capital is something very interesting. You know, it will stay with us for life. And that's the beauty of Sanskrit slokas. We learn one sloka and we just recite it a few times. It will stay with us forever. We may not remember other language things so easily, but Sanskrit has that power that, you know, even if without understanding the meaning, if we learn something in our childhood or maybe in some other time, it will be really helpful, you know, in that sense. So that is another beautiful point. Just one sec. Just close this. So we read this now. Now what we will do is, unless there is any questions, I can move to the next point, next topic. Is there any questions? Anybody has any questions? These points give us some, you know, encouragement, you know, positive energy to move forward. So I will move forward anyway. Now what we will do is the different types of study methods which we discussed, which we saw in our list just 2 slides ago. We will discuss them in a little bit more detail. What we will do is we will look into one study method and then go deeper into it today, because giving an overview of all of them at one go, it may not be possible to do it in one session, and then, you know, we will probably be not feeling complete about it. So let's do the first one, that is the, you know, the recitation and the importance of our Sanskrit, the shlokas and so on. What's happening? Okay, so first we will see how the shloka recitation things will, we can go ahead with. What we have to do is, first thing we have to do is, we have to recite the shlokas in sequence. This is one method, you know, this method where we are reciting the shlokas. So what we can do is, like in Bhagavatam, there are several prayers. take prayers alone and you can recite them in one go, right? That is one way of doing it, or do chapter by chapter by chapter, so this again, this will also give nice, feeling of association with Krishna. But then it's important to do it with proper pronunciation. Maharaj said how to properly pronounce. I don't know how to recite Sanskrit slokas properly. So the Devanagari is difficult for us to read unless and until we have learnt it. But Prabhupada has given such a nice thing with the Sanskrit diacritical marks. So it's only some 7 or 8 different pronunciations that is really we need to focus on, careful about. Those, anyway, we can do it. So once we do that, properly pronounce it, then it will stick to us. Right, and the thing is, Maharaj said one nice trick about proper pronunciation. He said, whenever you cannot pronounce properly, sing the verses loudly. So he said, if you sing the verses loudly, then you will be able to pronounce properly. Then we said, Maharaj, we are not singing loudly because we don't want to feel embarrassed by your bad pronunciation. But Maharaj said that is the only way you can get good pronunciation. If you keep on avoiding reciting the Sanskrit just because you cannot pronounce, you will never, you cannot, you have to jump into the ocean to learn swimming. You cannot say that I don't know swimming, so I will wait and watch from outside. Let the waves go down. So it's important for us to understand this point that, when we feel that we are inhibiting, then we have to go outwards and really pronounce, with energy. Then we will we may make some 10 mistakes the first time. We will learn a few things. Then we will reduce it to 6-7 mistakes. Then second time, third time we do, will be like 3 or 4 mistakes. So like this, it will come down and finally we'll be able to pronounce properly, And that will really be very, very nice offering, and we will also feel pleased about it. Then the next thing is, one thing is proper pronunciation. Second thing is we have to follow the specific meter and tune for the shlokas. We will get into that when we go there deeper. But when we sing with meter and that specific tune, what is meter and all we will discuss also. When we sing with a specific meter and the tune, then it gives all the more pleasure. I was just talking to one of the senior Prabhupada disciples who is very scholarly in his, he's very scholarly, and he just gave one small thing in my short. So he said that Bhagavatam is so much poetic that you cannot find it even in any of the Shastras, Vedas, Upanishads, in any of the Shastras. You will not find more than a few meters. We call it meters as chandas. We don't have so many meters, but in Bhagavatam, you can see so many different varieties of meters are there, and they are so relishable to sing, So that is one important thing we have to follow for relishing the shlokas more. And then it's not just enough to be singing with musical thing, whatever, but we have to recite the shlokas lovingly with bhav, because this is a sound incarnation of Krishna. Krishna is present in the form of his sound incarnation in these slokas, in these verses, because it is said in 5:18:26 that adhishta rupo vicharasi uruswanaha. Uruswanaha means great transcendental Vedic sound vibration, and adhishta rupa means in an invisible form. Vicharasi means wandering. Krishna is wandering here and there, like he is wandering in the Vrindavan, the groves and near the Yamuna Tata and all that. He wanders in these slokas. And the more we relish the slokas, the more he will dance also, the more he will give us that beautiful vision of his, his time in Vrindavan, right? And one other way to really enjoy singing is that when we sing these slokas, if we play with kartal, it adds more sweetness to it. I'm not telling too many things. Don't feel that, all these things are difficult to follow, but once you get used to it, it's really simple. I remember maybe many years ago when we were in Abu Dhabi, Maharaj wanted us to, it was the day of Janmashtami. So we thought that for Janmashtami, we have to go around and do all kinds of decorations and everything and all paraphernalias. So many things we were thinking devotees will be doing. We were all gathering there and all that. So Maharaj was in the Maharaj was staying in another house, and we had this Mangalarti in the morning, and we thought that after Mangalarti we will leave Maharaj to rest, and then we will go and do the services. But to our surprise, Maharaj said to the group of devotees who were assembled for the Mangalarti, he said, today is Janmashtami, Krishna's appearance day. Krishna appears in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So let's recite Bhagavad Gita today whole day, and then we will allow Krishna to appear in our hearts. And then he made us all sit down, and for 7 hours, it was not just 2 hours of recitation. We were reciting Bhagavad Gita for 7 hours together. You know how he would do? He would make one person recite one verse, and all others should repeat. Like that, we will recite the entire chapter. One devotee will do one chapter. And while doing that verse, we will have to play Kartal with it. So when we play Kartal with it, if we miss the Sanskrit pronunciation, he will ask us to recite again. And if we miss the Kartal beats, he will ask us to recite again. So like this, we went on and on. We didn't realize that the whole day we were fasting, and but it was such a nice experience we had that 7-8 hours we were, morning to evening, we were doing Bhagavad Gita. It was such a beautiful feeling we had. And you know, we can't forget that day and how Maharaj was correcting each one of us for our pronunciation, and he was also sitting with us throughout the day, and that really made us understand the importance of you know, whatever little we can add to enhance the sweetness of the singing. It's all welcome. Okay. So let's go to the benefits. You know, how do you get the, I mean, how do you get the benefits really, right? So we get this. This is really a pleasing and relishing experience because we are touched by the sound vibration of Krishna. Many times we undermine this quality. Many times I've seen devotees say that no, just keep Sanskrit slokas, it doesn't matter. We can just directly go to Prabhupada's words and so on. But the thing is, we are not. We don't realize that how much Prabhupada would have appreciated those slokas, how much all the devotees are, I mean, when we get into this Chandas thing, you can understand how much depth is there in each of these slokas. You know, even I'm a novice in Sanskrit, I don't know Sanskrit, but even I'm able to appreciate it because of the beauty of Bhagavatam, because Bhagavatam is so poetic in nature. We'll go to the next one. As we discussed already, sound vibration, it has such a hypnotic effect that it improves our health. All we have to do is simply continue to recite Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. You know, I will tell you real-time experience we had. Though I was not there, but the devotees who were there with Maharaj in his last days, they or many times, even before that, Maharaj would get sick many times. So devotees would immediately call for, say, ambulance or ask Maharaj that, Maharaj, let's go to the hospital. Maharaj will just say that, no, just stop all these things. You just bring out Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, just keep reciting the slokas from there, and that will help in the health. And true to his words, the devotees will be really helpless. They will be thinking, oh, how this will help, and they will just, but somehow because Maharaj's instruction, they will sit there and they will recite the slokas. Continuously, they will just keep reciting, and then within a hour or two, Maharaj would become completely normal. He would have been so breathless at one point, and just by this sound vibration, he would completely heal himself. And then he would say, did I not tell you about the importance of significance of this our singing slokas? So it is really, she showed us in practice, you know, many times he would say that, you know, this is the best way to even avoid going to, say, the hospitals and so on. And next, another beautiful thing is that the prayers are like Bhagavatam is like a sweet shop, and the prayers are like the various different types of sweets inside the sweet shop. So, you know, when we have we recite these prayers lovingly, and along with the understanding also, we can develop the deep loving mood, like how Gajendra is praying helplessly to Krishna, how Prahlad Maharaj is praying to Nrsingadev, how Bhishma Dev is praying in his deathbed, you know, longing to, the darshan of the Lord and describing his beauty. All these prayers, you know, they develop that loving mood for Krishna. This is the beauty of Bhagavatam, really. It's like each one is, tastes unique sweetness, you know. And that is one way to recite and relish Bhagavatam. But there are some precautions we have to follow. We have to be watchful of. Thing is, sometimes if we simply recite, no, it can get into a ritualistic mode. You can just simply recite for 5-10 minutes and then move on with it. That will not help. It will slowly degrade, our taste. It should not also be get into the ritualistic mood. Then the second thing also we do is that many times we try different musics and tunes, and we get too much absorbed in the musical, the various tunes or the musical nuances, that we stop appreciating our association with Krishna's Shabda Rupa. Even with Hare Krishna mantra kirtans, it happens many times, and devotees are too much into the music. But it's really sad to see many devotees playing, say, mridanga or kartal. They play with a lot of expertise, but they don't chant. They don't chant the mantra in repetition. Some say different excuses, but there's no reason to give excuses. It is just that our insincerity is the only reason that we don't want to chant Krishna's holy names while we are in the kirtan. So that minimizing the holy names, and I remember His Holiness Janananda Maharaj was really upset when devotees were not chanting the mantras, but they were only interested in musical thing. In the Adhyatma procession in Paris many years ago, I saw that, and he was not very happy with how we use various instruments, but we forget to sing the mantras and thing. No, same thing goes for Bhagavatam also. We should not get into too much of the tunes and all that, but we forget to relish the association of Krishna sound vibration. And we have to not just simply recite on the one side. Recitation really helps. It has its own effect even without our understanding, but at the same time we cannot just take advantage of it. We should recite with understanding. Otherwise, what will happen is the same thing I'm doing again and again, and I will lose the taste. It will lead to lack of taste. So that is to be avoided. Now, while we have this another point about running reading, I would rather not go there. I will stop here and ask if you have any questions before we go into the depth of this sloka recitation. Any questions so far?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Prabhuji.
I don't know, many times when it comes to reading Srimad Bhagavatam or scriptures altogether, we use the term reading. Are you reading Bhagavatam? Are you reading Bhagavad Gita? Is it not be better to use the terms study rather than reading? Because, I was texting a friend devotee and I said, reading, I don't know whether I was right or not. I said, reading, it comes to novels, because you read novels, you read paper, but Shastras need to be studied. And that's in people's mind, because, we all come from different backgrounds before we, join in ISKCON and this movement. We all reading newspaper, reading this and reading that, and the Shastra is studying rather than reading.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. That's a beautiful point, Prabhu. Thank you so much for pointing it out. And that's why we always call it a study. Like just now we said also that study will lead to steadiness, in Krishna consciousness. So we have to be scrutinizingly study. Like reading is like, as you said, it's like newspaper and so on. But one thing is that, for those who are very new to first timers in Krishna consciousness or Bhagavatam, they will feel like, they will really be amazed, or they will be frightened to see how big this Shastra is and how am I going to study and all that. So for them to at least get a hang of things and to make it lighter for them, in the sense, at least you start off with the small steps, then you can enjoy the big thing. Like I remember the first time when I read Srimad Bhagavatam, I used to call Maharaj from I was in the US that time, and Maharaj used to travel everywhere. So I used to call Maharaj and I would say, Maharaj, I have read this, I've studied this today, I read this today, like that. And then Maharaj would encourage me. And I finished reading once Bhagavatam in 14 months, all the translation purports and etc. I was doing it in daily few hours like that, and somehow I completed it. And then I told Maharaj joyfully that, Maharaj, I have done this today and I've completed this. And then Maharaj said, what you have done now is running reading. It will give you some pleasure. Definitely, it is advantageous. But the next time you don't do running reading, do more of a deeper study. That way you take a group of verses and do like that. We will get into those things again after we complete this recitation part. So this running reading is, for beginners to get a what you call overview of it, or just a bit of gist of it. But we can't say that that is enough. As you said rightly, we have to get into the study part, Prabhu. Thank you for that valuable instruction. Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, I'm feeling that this memorization, is this the right place to ask a question about how
Yes,
we memorize these beautiful shlokas?
Yes, Mataji.
You said singing them and chanting them and regularity.
Yes, Mataji.
But the more we add to our repertoire of verses, then I'm forgetting some of the original learning. So it's a very desperate, affair.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, I understand your question. I hope I think you can answer. So what usually happens is, Mataji, that we have this little misconception that my memory is like a hard disk, which has it has a 1 TB capacity. Then after this thing, it will lose. It will not hold anymore. But the beauty of our memory is that it has unlimited capacity to store things. Like I can remember someone, saying something appreciative or criticizing 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right? If it is, only thing is, if I like it, it will stick with me, right? So even our this thing also, we have to start enjoying it. We have to start admiring it. Then automatically these things stick to our minds. And one thing Maharaj used to say for us, when he used to, his training was too strict. He will make us sit in the class. He will recite the shloka once, and we will repeat it. And after we repeat, he will say, now you all close your books. Only once you will repeat, he will say, all close your books. Now you try reciting. We will be really struggling like anything, and Maharaj will scold us and then say, you are all Kali Yuga brains. You don't have the spongevity in your brain. Like the sponge, how much ever water you put, it absorbs it. No? Like that, our brain also should be sponge-like, you would say. When it is sponge-like, then, it's like, the more you learn, the more it will be with you. But the problem we are forgetting, the reason why we are forgetting shlokas is because we are not using them. We are not using them. So how do we use them? By contemplating on its meaning. So we will get to there, Mataji, how to memorize. There are some few ways and techniques to that memorization. It's not simply reciting, say 10, 20 times we get memorization. That kind of a memorization will stick for some time, but without the meaning, we will lose it. So there is a way to memorize the shlokas, including its meaning. That will come in the deep study part. So we will get there. We will cross the bridge when it comes, Mataji. But I hope this helps you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes.
We'll go there. Yeah. But the thing is, it is very important to keep it memorized. And there is also a technique, and it's called an MRTR technique: memorize, recite, think, and realize. We will get there also very soon, next time, next sessions. So I will go to the sloka recitation part. Now, this is a beautiful quote by Prabhupada. Can someone read these? Maybe each paragraph, one like that. Meena Mataji has raised her hand. Yes, Mataji, please, can you start it? This is Prabhupada's beautiful words in his lecture on Bhagavatam 291 in Tokyo, 1972. The beauty of this lecture is I would really request you to read this entire transcript of this lecture, because this lecture is nothing but Prabhupada is making each one devotee recite the shloka again and again and correcting them, and then in between talking a little bit. He doesn't talk into the art of philosophy. This particular lecture is mainly about just how to recite. So, Mataji, want to read this part now?
Hare Krishna. Okay. From the beginning, right? From the start?
Yeah, from the beginning.
Srila Prabhupada's quote on recitation. The thing is hearing the meter and repeat. That's all. The writing is already there. Transliteration, simply, you have to hear the...
already there, transliteration.
Transliteration. Already there transliterations. Right, sorry. Simply you have to hear the written. It's like you have chanted so many verses, songs by hearing. The hearing is very important. A child learns another language simply by hearing, pronunciation, hearing. That is natural. If we hear one thing repeatedly, you will learn. You will learn. So one has to hear little attentively, then it will be easy. You have no difficulty, just like you are singing a song in tune. We sing Samsara Dava Nanalida Loka. This is by hearing. So simply you have to hear. Therefore, whole Vedic Shastra is called Shruti. It is a process of hearing. So you have to study like that, so many shlokas. I am taking so much labor. If you do not read it carefully, it is not that I am making business for selling only and not for my students. You must all read all this, practice. Why so much trouble is being taken? Word to word meaning and then transliteration. If you chant this mantra, that vibration will cleanse the atmosphere. And,
yeah. Please continue.
and when, wherever you go in any part of the world, if you can chant this mantra, oh, you'll be received like God. It is so nice. And in India, he'll actually receive like gods if you chant this mantra. They will so offer their respects, so many. Veda mantra, very good. Yes, in this way, each one of you chant and others will follow. Then 1 or 2 days, you will get the shloka by heart. You can chant it. It is not difficult.
Thank you, Mataji, for reading it so nicely. I think Hare Krishna Mataji, you got the answer a little bit from Prabhupada also here. You were just asking this question about how to memorize, and Prabhupada is giving such a nice, simple way of doing it.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Yes, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Should I say something?
Yes,
Sorry.
Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
So that was very beautifully written. Like in the singing, we didn't know. I mean, we used to go to the temple every day, listen to Samsara Dava, like, Srila Prabhupada's given the example here. So Aarti, everything just by listening, we did get the hold of it. Then we got the books and we, just made sure we read it properly, read the pronunciations properly. So it's beautifully and simply said and so easy to feel.
Yeah. It is so nice actually, Mataji, because that is the beauty of our specifically our language, because it is pure. It is pure in nature. And I remember whenever we used to go to spend some time with our Maharaj, Maharaj, we would have devotees who are like, just laborer devotees. Like, they are devotees, but they will be illiterate, so they will only be doing laborer job, like, watering the plants, cleaning the floor, and things like that. So they will just be sitting in the class because they like to hear Maharaj speaking. That's all. And Maharaj would speak a lot of things in English. They will not understand. But Maharaj will make them all recite one shloka, and the whole day, because they lovingly they hear, and they don't know Sanskrit, they don't know any language, but they remember the shloka. And when they sweep the floor, they will just simply singing their shloka, and they will lovingly they will be doing. And they don't know the meaning, they don't know the language, but they will enjoy it. That's the beauty of our scriptures, Mataji.
Yeah, I guess it's a willingness. They were so willing that they just approved everything.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. There's the appreciation is there, right? So really nice. Okay. So any other questions before we move on? Okay, I will move on. So now we will start looking at the science of chandas and recitation. Now, what is chandas? We will see that. Our Sanskrit shlokas, they are all based on certain chandas. Chanda means in English we call it as meter, no? Like they have a meter for a specific, say a poem or whatever like that. All our scriptures, they were all written in some specific chandas. Like even Vedas are written in some specific chandas. And the chandas is like how do you put it? Like for the language, it is like for our body, we have the feet, our 2 feet. So with the feet only we can walk easily. We can go the distance. We can cover a certain distance, right? If you want to go from one place to another, we need the feet to walk and go there. So pada. So our Sanskrit shlokas also, for that, chandas is like the pada, feet, with which you can, you sing with a certain meter, then it is actually like the movement. So the chandas actually make the shlokas, they in like how the feet helps our body move. It's like that, But in terms, actually, chanda actually means it is very pleasing, alluring. Means alluring is a very nice word, very attractive. It's very lovely. It is delightful, and it is charming. Such a beautiful meanings. There are so many meanings are there, and it's based on the root word is chad. Actually, it means that esteemed, to please, to seem good, feel pleasant, or something that nourishes, gratifies, or is celebrated. This is, I took it to the Wikipedia directly. This is such a nice meaning, I said. And this chanda means each sloka has some certain syllables, and the number of syllables is counted, and for each one of them, it's all named with different types of chandas. We will get into them one by one. But before that, if just wanted to give one interesting fact, that it is said that there are total of 13 crore 12 lakhs 27,000 chandas in our shastras, in our chanda shastra. 13 crore 12 lakhs 27,000 total chandas. But on the whole, we are only using some 60 or 70 chandas in all our shastras put together for the last 5,000 years. You can just imagine how big this chanda, ocean of chandas is. Like for example, we say Anushtup chanda. It has 8 syllables each part. Each line is called a pada. So each line has 8 syllables. Like that, there are different types of chandas, and each chanda is sung differently. One particular tune will not fit for a chanda, will not fit into the other tune. So like that, it all comes. So this is a little introduction to the chanda. Now Bhagavatam speaks about, so how do we, there's a connection between chanda and shabda. Shabda means sound vibration. Chanda means the meter. So when you say something, it's like I'm just speaking. But when I sing it, when I tell it in a certain tune or raga, then it conveys a little bit more emotion in it, isn't it? So that is why these chandas are very, very helpful in conveying them in a proper mood and emotion, right? So Bhagavatam is so poetic, as I told you earlier, that it has so many different types of chandas that is not there in any of the Vedic shastras. At least 30 or 40 different types of chandas are there. So I will go further into some, we want to go into some of the interesting points in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. See, this is very interesting. The first place where chanda, the word chanda is used is in this shloka. We all know this, right? Sri Bhagavan Vacha Urdha Moolamada Shakam Ashwattam Prahuravyayam Chandansi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Saveda Ved. In this thing, the word chanda is used there, right? So the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. So this chanda word is actually, it is translated as the Vedic mantras, all Vedic mantras put together, right? So it is very interesting because, this we all know this Xerox, no? Xerox. It's a company, but many times devotees say that no, I am take 2 Xerox copies. In India, they say this, take 2 Xerox copies, but actually it is photocopying, right? So photocopying is the activity, but the Xerox company is the one that introduced photocopy to the world. But we kept telling, no, take 2 Xerox copies, right? But how it so happened, because they are the ones who introduced Xerox, I mean the photocopying, we keep using that. In India also, I don't know if you know, how many of you were in India before. There used to be many years ago, there used to be this one washing soap called Nirma. in the advertisement, those that Nirma is very famous, you know. So what happened? They are the first one. They came and they distributed in the market so widely. So the people who when they go to buy, you know, they'll go and ask, you know, they will not ask, give me a washing powder. They'll give me one Nirma. So the person will think that he may have a Nirma biscuit also, he may have Nirma some oil also, but Nirma means by default he will understand that it is washing powder and he will give him Nirma. The examples are like this because the thing is, by the usage, it became so used that Chanda means Vedas, Veda means Chanda, that's it. So that's why here Chanda, when it is because the way Chanda became known, became famous because of it is used only in Vedic mantras. So every mantra in Vedas follows a certain chanda, so it is not different from chanda. That's what it means. So Prabhupada very nicely puts it, and Krishna introduces this word chanda in this chapter, in the very first verse of this chapter. And this is Purushottam Yoga, which is Krishna himself, right? This is just one small thing, and then there is another beautiful verse in Bhagavatam 3:8-6, which is very, very nice to meditate on. I would like someone to read this translation after we do this verse. Muhur grunanto vachasanuraga skhalat padenasya kritani tajñah kirita sahasramani praveka pradyotitoddama phana sahasram. Madhavi Mataji.
Prabhuji, I will read.
Yes, yeah, somebody is, anybody want to read? Yeah. Pratibha Mataji. Yeah.
The four Kumaras headed by Sanat Kumara, who all knew the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, glorified the Lord in rhythmic accents with selected words full of affection and love. At that time, Lord Shankarshana, with his thousands of raised hoods, began to radiate an effulgence from the glowing stones on his head.
Thank you for reading, Dr. Mataji. So this is a very beautiful line, especially this Skalat Padenasya Kritani Tajñah and Muhur Grinanto. Muhur Grinanto means again and again they were reciting Vachasa Anuraga. Anuraga is where they're full of affection and love, you know. So the Sanat Kumaras, they were chanting the transcendental pastimes of the Lord with Skalat Padena. Skalat Padena means rhythmic accents, like, you know, certain verses in Anushtup, certain verses in different chandas, and because they were chanting it with such a nice love and nice beautiful rhythmic accents that even Shankarshana, with his thousands of raised hoods, he was joyful. He was very, very much in ecstasy, you know. So this is another place where the importance of rhythmic chanting is highlighted in Bhagavatam. And go to the next one. This is an amazing verse where Krishna himself speaks to Uddhava about the origin and source of all these the Sanskrit verses and the chandas and so on. So this is in 3 verses. This is in again Anushtup. So I will just recite the verse. Yator nanabhir hridayat urunam udvamate mukhat akashat goshavan prano manasa sparsha rupina Chando mayomritamayah sahasra padavim prabhu omkaradhyanjita sparsha swaroshmantasta bhushitam vichitra bhasha vitatam chando vischaturuttaraih anantaparam brihatim srijatyakshipate swayam. Who wants to read this translation? I'll read it slowly because it's a bit loaded translation. Madhavi Mataji, please, can you read it, Mataji?
Brings forth from
Mataji, we are not able to hear you loudly. Maybe you can come closer to the mic.
Just as a spider.
Yes, it's better, Mataji. Yes.
Yeah. Just as a spider brings forth from its heart its web and emits it through its mouth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself as the reverberating What is the means, Prabhuji, reverberating?
Reverberation means resonating. When you some echo is coming, no? Like that.
Okay. Primeval vital air comprising all sacred Vedic meters and full of transcendental pleasure. Thus, the Lord from the ethereal sky of his heart creates the great and limitless Vedic sound by the agency of his mind, which conceives of variegated sounds such as the surpasses. The Vedic sound.
Sparsha.
Okay, sparshas. Oh yeah, such
Yeah.
as the sparshas. Sparshas. The Vedic sound branches out in the thousands of directions, adorned with different letters expanded from the syllable womb. The constants, vowels,
Consonants, vowels, sibilants, and semivowels.
consonants, vowels, and sibilants, and semivowels. The Veda is then elaborated by many verbal varieties expressed in different meters, each having 4 more syllables than the previous one. Ultimately, the Lord again withdraws his manifestation of Vedic sound within himself.
See, this is a whole history. Thank you, Mataji. This is the entire history of how the sound comes into being and how it goes back. So basically, Krishna is producing all these shastras from it's like reverberating primeval vital air. It comes from the air. The air is the carrier of the sound, right? So it comes from Krishna, and all the Vedic sacred meters are all, and it's full of transcendental pleasure. Krishna is manifesting himself as that. It is not that he's producing something from him. It's actually Krishna himself. And from his heart it is coming, and he is creating these by the agency of his mind. Means he is thinking. Mind means he is thinking. So everything that is coming is a thought, output of Krishna, and they are all coming in different forms as sparshas. We say sparsha, talavya, like that. Each of this kaka, gaganga, cha, cha, jajana, like all these, each one of them are categorized as different vargas. We say pa varga, ta varga, like that, like that. So sparsha alphabet, sparsha aksharas, talavya aksharas, like that. There are different types of there. And moreover, that the Vedic sound itself is a science by itself. It branches out into 1,000 different directions, and so many different letters, so many different combinations. We have the consonants, vowels, and semi-vowels, and then we also have that swaras. Sibilants means swaras, like the 7 swaras we have, sari, gama, padani. And then the Veda is then, it's elaborated in so many different permutations and combinations, and it is expressed in different meters. Chando vis chaturuttaraihi. So this through chandas they are expressed, means there are meters. Like suppose I want to express something in a certain Anushtup meter, then the whole content is put in within that meter. It is so deep, mathematically also so advanced, that you can't just write anything and everything and say this will correct. It has a specific number of letters, ganas, guru, lagu, and so many things are there in it, which will not get into the details so much. But really, it's a very transcendental science. That's what it is. It actually indicates, Prabhus and Matajis. Anybody has any lack of clarity in this particular thing? I know it is a bit complicated in terms of the wordings, but the understanding, I hope you got it.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Just to get to clarification, the
yes,
tunes when you recite, tunes are different, isn't it? So how we actually identify?
We will come there, Prabhu. We will come there. That's the next slide talks about that. Tune means raga, Prabhu, basically. So this chanda and raga are combined, like for example, we play the beats like kirtans, we play the mridanga, but we also play harmonium, right? You play the kartal. Kartal keeps the timing, right? So chandas is like that. Chandas is like how we play kartal and mridanga. It helps fitting your raga in a certain way, right? The chanting. But ragas, they have 7 different things, right? 7 swaras. So they go in different thing, different heights and all that, scales and pitch and whatever. So these combined together, they give a pleasing experience, Prabhu. So you can use same raga for different chandas, but then it won't fit in for everything. So it's a little bit, those who are musically advanced, they can find out those things. But for us, for Bhagavatam, we have only a few things which we need to remember. We'll come to that slowly, one by one. We can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That's the main purpose of this this particular topic, is mainly to understand the various different ragas or tunes which we need to use for the different slokas. To some, as much as possible, we will try to cover it. So next is a very beautiful sloka. Now, next two slokas will talk about the importance of the Shabda form, Shabda Rupa.
Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Just before you carry on, Lalita Priti is asking, what is the meaning of sparsha?
Sorry, sparsha?
Yes, sparsha.
Oh, sparsha is the different aksharas, no? They are termed differently. For example, pa, pa, ba, ba, ma, right? They are pa varga.
Pavarga, tavarga, chavarga.
So, yeah, tavarga. So the pa, when it is touching your lips, no, it's called sparsha. When you say ka, ka, ga, 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 it doesn't touch, right? So like that's how the sparsha, talave, like that, you have different terminologies. I don't have the full details of all that right away, but we can discuss it further detail. If the devotees are interested, we can share that offline or maybe in the next sessions. Okay, so in other words is, akshara, these names, are very nice, because akshara means that which is infallible. So you say certain words, letters, they are supposed to fit in there. For example, in English, you will have K N O W is, you don't call it as no, you call it as no, right? You pronounce it as no. So what about K and W in that letter? What are they doing there? There's no need for them to sit there. You can as well say NO as no. But in Sanskrit, every single half akshara also it is pronounced. There is no akshara that is not pronounced. So that's why it's called akshara, means infallible. Krishna, akshara brahma paramam, we say in the 8th chapter, no? Like that. So same way, sparsha means touching. So while we are touching our lips or whatever, at the same time, we also touch Krishna. There is a way, it also helps us touch Krishna, connect with Krishna, right? Shall we go ahead?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. So this is a very beautiful verse. Our Guru Maharaj used to love this sloka, and he used to make us recite this sloka word to word, translation and purport so deeply that he even made us by heart the purport, because this particular verse talks about how to realize Krishna in his sound vibration. Because Narad Muni, when he in his previous birth, he was very much distressed, because the sages also went away after Chaturmasya. His mother also passed away. He was all alone, right? And then on top of it, he went around everywhere, and he finally sat down and tried to do the same process of meditation which he learned from the sages in his own naive way. But Krishna was so pleased with his attempt that he came and gave him the first darshan. But after giving the darshan, this what Krishna did will make normally all of us sorrowful, but it didn't do it. It didn't make Narad Muni feel bad. What Krishna said was, I regret that after this moment, you will not see me again in this lifetime, because your devotional service is not yet fully mature, avipakva. So you will have to come next life, you may be able to take my darshan. But instead of feeling morose about this thing, Narad Muni started dancing in joy, because he said that Krishna, you only said you will not give your darshan to me, but you cannot stop me from taking your darshan. See the beauty there? That is the beauty of devotees. They will defeat Krishna by his own words. Right? Krishna said, I am sorry that I will not be able to give my darshan to you. But what Narada Muni said was that you are in your names, you are in your glories, you are in your slokas and shastras and everything. So even if you try to hide yourself by your darshan, physical darshan, in this adrishya rupa, you will always be able to show us your darshan. We will be able to take your darshan. So that is why this words personified by sound and unseen by eyes is very important, Prabhus and Matajis. Krishna may be unseen by eyes, but he is personified by sound. So we can see him as in person by chanting this shlokas. We'll recite this shloka and maybe someone can read this translation and purport very slowly. Etavadukto pararama tanmahat bhutam nabholingamalingam aham chatasmai mahatam mahiyase Krishna vanamam vidade anukampitah. You know, if you want to remember this tune, you can always sing Hare Krishna mantra in the same tune also. But let's go further. Somebody wants to read this translation and purport slowly.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, shall I?
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes.
Then that supreme authority, personified by sound and unseen by eyes, but most wonderful, stopped speaking. Feeling a sense of gratitude, I offered my obeisances unto him, bowing my head. Purport. That the personality of God had...
So before going to the purport, it's very important that Narad Muni felt a sense of gratitude. Though Krishna said that I will not give you my darshan again, but the significant point here is Narad Muni felt a sense of gratitude. Why is he feeling gratitude? Because he feels that he said that even though you are telling outside that you are not going to show your darshan, but you have given us a way by which we can take your darshan through your sound form. That is the reason why he is feeling a sense of gratitude. So that's why he is offering his obeisances to him, and then carries on with this devotional service after that. Yes, Mataji, now you can read the purport.
Purport. That the personality of Godhead was not seen, but only heard, does not make any difference.
Does not make any difference. Every line we have to stop, Mataji. That does not make any difference. This does not make any difference. Because Krishna is not, now we are chanting about Krishna. The deity, we are not in front of the deity, or Krishna is not present in front of us in the form of his actual form, the Shamsundar form or whatever. But we don't feel a difference. It's as good, it's even more, in fact. You are able to appreciate his presence here. There is no difference between hearing Krishna and seeing Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
The personality of Godhead produced the four Vedas by his breathing, and he is seen and realized through the transcendental sound of the Vedas.
Now this point is very important. He is seen and realized through the transcendental sound of the Vedas. He not only that we are chanting, but we are also seeing him and realizing him. Next month.
Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita is the sound representation of the Lord, and there is no difference in identity.
See, this is a very important phrase. No difference in identity. As much as Krishna is important for us, the sound, as much as we give importance to Krishna, that same importance is there for Bhagavad Gita also. That's why Bhagavad Gita is glorified all over the world. There is no difference in identity. Whether I come or someone comes on my behalf, it's all the same. So Krishna is manifesting himself in the form of Bhagavad Gita. So there is no difference in identity. Yes, Mataji.
The conclusion is that the Lord can be seen and heard by persistent chanting of the transcendental sound.
So these words are also very important. We can see Krishna also, we can hear Krishna also, but the most important thing is persistent chanting. Very important words, Prabhus and Matajis. Persist. We should persist. We should persistently chant. It's not that only when I'm happy I will chant. It's not that only when I'm sad I am chant. Anytime we have to be ready to chant. We should always be ready for this recitation and chanting and study and all. We can see Krishna in all these forms. So, any question here before we move on further? Okay, I'm moving on. So the next verse which talks about the importance of Shabda Rupa is this. This is also in a different meter. We will come to that also. This is very powerful words spoken by Lord Brahma in his prayers to Krishna, creative, praying for creative potency. So here also again he tells so nicely, Etu tvadiya charanambuja koshakandam jigranti karna vivara shrutivata-nitam bhaktya gruhita charana paraya cha tesham napaishinata hridaya muruhat swapumsam. Want to read the translation?
I will read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
O my Lord, persons who smell the aroma of your lotus feet, carried by the air of Vedic sound through the holes of the ears, accept your devotional service. For them, you are never separated from the lotus of their hearts.
This is such a beautiful verse because each word is so nice, Charana Ambuja, Tvadiya means devotees. Charana Ambuja Kosha Gandham. Charana Ambuja means lotus feet. So in that lotus feet, worlds will be there, no? Worlds. And each, as you go deeper inside, it is called Kosha. And there is where the honey will be there. That's why the honeybee goes deep inside. So Kosha Gandham means the aroma, fragrance, So Jigranti means smell, but you don't smell with your nose, you smell with your ears. That's the beauty here, Prabhus and Matajis. Vivaraihi means very elaborate and deeply. Karna Vivaraihi means you open your ears so widely that this the aroma, just like sound is carried by the air, this aroma is also carried by the air, isn't it? The smell comes because of the flow of the air. So both are having the same this thing, So the point is, it's the Jigranti Karna Vivaraihi Shruti Vata Nitam. Shruti Vata means air. Shruti means Vedic sound vibration. So this, when we are chanting the Vedic sound vibration, the air, it carries just like the smell it is carrying, it will carry, and then it carries and it comes through the ears. We are able to smell, enjoy its fragrance, I think 2 sessions ago we talked drink through the ears. Now it is talking about smelling through the ears. And one more shloka in another place in Brahma will say seeing through the ears. So all the activities of the other senses, we can do it through the ears alone, Matajis and Prabhujis. This is such a beautiful thing about this sound vibration. Only through the sound vibration we can do, with all the senses activities can be done only through the ears. So it is carried, and through the holes of the ears it goes inside, and Bhaktya Gruhita Charanaha, we accept that Charana, the lotus feet, the shelter of the lotus feet, and there is nothing else beyond this. That's the topmost for us, the shelter of the Krishna's lotus feet. And for such people, Hridaya Amburuhat Swapumsa Napai Srinatha, means you will not leave their hearts at all. That is what Brahma is telling. In this, he is highlighting the importance of seeing Krishna or enjoying Krishna through the chanting and reciting and hearing the Vedic sound vibrations. Prabhus and Mataji. See, these, I just wanted to collect a few shlokas which talks about the importance of this, what is really Chandas, the importance of Shabda form of Krishna. So I hope it helped. Is there any questions or any comments till now?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So at this point, maybe can we just quickly mention about our continuation of these seminar, because
yes,
some devotees may leave.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I just quickly mention just 1
Yes,
minute,
Prabhu.
and then
Yes,
of
Prabhu.
course we can carry on.
Yes,
I
Prabhu.
did. Hare Krishna, all the devotees. Thank you very much for tuning in today. And we are very grateful to Kalacakra Krishna Prabhu for his wonderful work and enlightening us through Srimad Bhagavatam. So as Prabhuji mentioned, and there were a number of requests that we should continue the seminar. Initially, this seminar was planned for only 3 Saturdays. It was supposed to end today, but it's Krishna's mercy we are able to take it forward. So what we are going to do is we will take a break next Saturday. And there is a reason, because we have our own Manchester program every first Saturday of the month. So there will be a program, but that's just for the ISKCON Manchester congregation. So hence there won't be any seminar session next Saturday, just for next Saturday. And then what we'll do is we will, after next Saturday, so from 11th, 18th, and 25th of July. So 4th July, ISKCON Manchester program will be there. And 11th, 18th, and 25th July, 3 more Saturdays, we will have this nectar. We will have opportunity to hear this nectar from Kalacakra Krishna Prabhu. So please kindly make a note of it, 11th, 18th, 25th July at the same time. And what I did, I have put the information in the chat. Have a look at that meeting ID, and Zoom meeting ID, Zoom link has been posted for your kind information. But we will also send the WhatsApp message, but in case if you miss that out, I thought it's better to share it now rather than later. So thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. Hare Krishna. Anything you want to add, Prabhu?
No, I really appreciate devotees wanting to have more to complete instead of rushing to complete, so because today also I couldn't, I had a certain plan, but it is going a little, I mean to say, slow and steady wins the race, I would say. So I hope devotees are okay with the speed in which we are going. That's the only thing I wanted to say. And thank you all for your participation and encouraging us also. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Governor Prabhu. I think we should continue with one more thing,
No, please continue. I thought because, in case if somebody leaves it.
I want to complete with that next section alone, if possible, Krishna willing. This we saw about the science of chandas, but now the science of chandas, like now each akshara each verse we chanted in different meters, different tunes. So the number of aksharas are counted. Like for example, let me go there. Better to go in from this. So now there is a different details here. This called chandas class, and each chandas has a name. And those names are also very sweet to meditate on, Prabhus and Matajis, because the names are not given arbitrarily, It's given based on the mood with which that chanda creates in us when we it's the inherent quality of the chanda. And the syllables tells about the number of aksharas, the number of, in English we say alphabets, but in Sanskrit we say aksharas. Like for example, Krishna. We say Krishna is 7 letters, but then akshara is 2 here. Krish and Na. Then Ha, Re, 2 letters, two aksharas. Ra, Ma, 2 aksharas again. But again in these aksharas, they are classified as Lagu, Guru, or another place called Dirgha and Hraswa, they call it. Dirgha means, like for example, Ra, Ma, right? We say Ra means when you say E, like that, you go extended, it's called Dirgha. And Hraswa means short, like Ka, Ta, Pa, Ra, like that, they are all Dirgha, sorry, Hraswa, short. So long, short, no need to worry too much about the Sanskrit thing. If you're finding it difficult to remember it, think of it as long and short. And with that, the syllables are being counted, and based on that counting of the syllables, the names are given, and then the tunes are also set in a certain way. That raga or tune which we talk about, it can be according to one's musical capacity if they want to try something differently. But there are some traditional ragas that are being used for different chandas, which normally devotees follow. Like whatever we had sung so far, they are all the usual ones that are followed while chanting the slokas. Somebody raised, I think Meena Mataji raised her hand, I guess.
Yes, Prabhu. You said Krishna is 2 aksharas.
Yes.
So from what we've studied, wouldn't Krishna be Krishna 4?
No, Mataji. It's only 2 because Krish is one. It is, that's why I said that its technicality is a little bit thing. That's why if you say this entire Mahamantra, no, when you say iti shodashakam nam nam kali kalmashanashanam, shodashakam means 16.
Okay.
In our mantras, Kali
Yes,
Kali
yes.
said, no?
Yes.
So Krishna, Ha, Re, Ra, Ma.
Yeah.
If you count all these, it totals to 16, Mataji.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So if this is okay, then we can continue. Each one of them will just try to see them. So the first one is an Anushtup, which is very common. This Anushtup is, it has, in a verse, there are 4 lines. No? Each line is called a pada. So each pada will have 8 syllables in Anushtup. So total 32, but total number of aksharas is 32, but each line will have 8. But the challenge here is, I don't want to get into the technicalities a little bit, but it is needed at some point, because the thing is, there is one more terminology called ganas. Gana means heaviness, gana. So weight, basically. So in Anushtup shlokas, or any shloka for that matter, they take 3 aksharas together and they divide them into 8 different types of ganas. For example, long, short, long, short, short, long, short, 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 long, 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 like that, 8 different types. So each of those ganas define the meter. So even though the number of syllables is the same, the meters, the chandas will be different. To understand the thing, we will get to know of it as we go along. But anyway, let's first discuss this one, the Anushtup one. Bhagavad Gita is predominantly Anushtup, and some of them are the other ones, Upajati and Indra Vajra and so on. We will be seeing them. But this particular thing, we know the famous shloka Krishnaya Vasudevaya, then all Bhagavad Gita shlokas, right? But the tunes in which you sing, there are multiple tunes. Like for example, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he is so beautiful, he is so expert in singing Srimad Bhagavatam that Chaitanya Prabhu will specifically go to him only to hear his singing, hear his recitation. Each type of verse he will recite in three different tunes, it seems, minimum. And that's why he decided so interestingly that see, all the 6 Goswamis, predominantly they had their deities, no? The deities. Like Rupa Goswami has Radha Govindji, Gopal Bhatta Goswami had Radha Ramanji, Jiva Goswami had Radha Damodarji, then Sanatan Goswami had Radha Madan Mohanji, right? But Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, no deities are associated with his name. You know why? Because his deity is Srimad Bhagavatam himself. Srimad Bhagavatam was his deity, personal deity. He was relishing Srimad Bhagavatam as his worshipable deity, So that is why when he was singing, Chaitanya Prabhu was able to enjoy it so much. Now, this Anushtup is very, looks very easy, but then it also has its own complicated rules. If you go to that particular shloka, we can try different, two, 3 different types of singing, Now this goes by 3 beats when we sing it. So we all know this shloka, Krishnaya Vasudevaya. Normally, if you have to sing now, like what we have been trying this one, this is normally the tune that is followed in the South Indian style. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. See, the beats and the meter and chanda and everything fits in, the raga, everything fits in perfectly, right? So this is how we normally do. So when we add the kartas, it adds more sweetness to it. Now, the same thing is sung, this goes in a little bit faster pace, but the thing is we have to do the vibration in the end. Maharaj used to make a very interesting point that you have to vibrate. The throat has to be used for vibration. That is where Krishna is present here. We have to vibrate to hear Krishna's, Krishna is joyful when we do that. So when we say Krishna Vasudevaya that when you do that, yeah, no, we have to enjoy that, that is where Krishna is Vicharasi Urushvanaha. He dances in those, the little vibration that we give. Whenever we used to do this, now Maharaj used to make fun of us. He would really tease us that, man, in 85 years, my throat is vibrating. Why your throat is not vibrating in young age? Why don't you do it with sincerity, he would say. So he was putting us to a hard task when we had to do this. And when we are not vibrating properly, he will make us repeat it again. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha. You say, Krishna, you are touching Krishna. So please touch Krishna in these vibrations. Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So this is such a nice pleasure to hear. Even we also will enjoy it. We don't have to even remember the names or the meaning. Also, even without meanings, we can enjoy it. This can be sung in a different tune, and he has to sing in a slightly different thing. He will sing, like, for example, we'll go with say the Bhagavad Gita famous verse by Arjuna, Param Brahma Param Dhaman. He will sing it in another loving tune. This is a very nice one also, but you have to do it with slowly, and you have to relish it. Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. Then he goes a little higher in the same thing. Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Like this, when we sing, it really, we feel as touching Krishna. The touch of Krishna, we can feel it. So this has to be done with bhava. We are not doing musical exercise here. We are, Maharaj would say very nicely, we are all bathroom singers. For a change, you just come out with the bathroom and sing for Krishna lovingly, you say. That's how, even many times you would see that, when he gets up from the bed, right at 4 o'clock in the morning, when he goes to wash his clothes, then get ready, take bath, and all. The bathroom, in the bathroom, we would hear him continuously chant Bhagavad Gita right from the first chapter. And by the time he comes out and he goes for cooking or whatever, he would have finished the whole Bhagavad Gita every day. And this is the beauty of touching Krishna every day, Prabhus and Matajis. Our hearts will become so purified, and Krishna will definitely be pleased with our loving devotional recitations. So does this help for the first one? Any doubts here? Anybody's? I have any question? Next, we will go to the next one. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Now, this is 8 syllables we talked about. The next thing is 11 syllables. This is called, the class is usually it is called as Trishtup. Now this Anushtup, Trishtup, we have different Jagati, Adi Jagati, and Gayatri, Vushnik. There are 7 different basic classes. They are actually the 7 horses of Surya Bhagavan, they call it. So all this, their names also the same thing, but there are also subclasses of these chandas, and then within subclasses we have many different chandas also. Okay. Now I'm going to club these these Trishtup ones, because the The thing is, there are two of them, both are of the same 11 syllables. But the thing is, only slight difference is there. There are 5 different types of Trishtu classes in Bhagavatam. Indra Vajra, Upendra Vajra, then Upajati, and 2 other types. Now, what is this difference between Indra Vajra and Upendra Vajra? Indra Vajra is like you have all the lines are even ganas. I told you, that ganas like 3 letters taken together. It will be same for all 4. But in Upendra Vajra, first and third will be even, and second and fourth will not be even in terms of the ganas. So because of that, even though it is same syllables, but the tunes will vary. And Upajati is a combination of Indra Vajra and Upendra Vajra. And most of the Bhagavatam verses are in Upajati Chanda types. Even they are 11 syllable ones. And you can sing it like, many of the verses which is sang, it will be sung in that same tune only. We will go to this example. Both can be sung in the same tune. I will just go to this one to carry on with our recitation. Now this goes in our Duital, which we have been singing so far. Rajavacha, you are able to see my screen, right? Or do you want me to maximize it or something? I will highlight
yes,
it.
we are able to see, Prabhu. If possible, you could make it a little bigger. Control plus.
Okay, the only thing, I will just do this thing. I will do.
Yeah, better now. Better now. Yeah. Thank you.
So this, this is like 11 syllable ones. I mean, if you can't remember the Chanda names, Prabhus and Matajis, you can just remember as like, we have our, when we order our takeaway or something, small, medium, large, extra large, like that, remember verses like that, to be, easy terms. Now this we can sing in the Duita. Rajovacha, Apo Vayam Dhanyatama Nrpanam Mahattamano Grahaniya Shila Rajñam Kulam Brahmana Pada Shauchat Dura Visrishtam Batagarhya Karma Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. See, one thing, if you understand the speciality, it is the verses which may not fit, one will not fit in the other tune. But Hare Krishna mantra will fit in every tune. You can sing it in a nice way because it is very evenly placed, So that's the beauty of this thing. Now, many shlokas can be sung in this. Many shlokas in Bhagavatam are sung in this meter, Prabhus and Matajis. So even this famous, like the famous bhajan, not the bhajan. The prayers by Billu Mangal Thakur. We have this one, goes like this. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare He Nath Narayana Vasudeva Jihve Pibaswamrutame Tadeva Govinda Damodara Madhaveti 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 Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Maharaj used to say that this particular meter, Krishna is very pleased when we sing in this meter. It's one of his favorites, Maharaj would say. That and second other thing is, if at all we are very angry or very upset or something, frustrated or something, this is the best tune to sing. Especially when you sing in this tune, all our anger will slowly subside. We have to sing it with bhava and patiently and Slowly we have to recite. Aho vayam dhanyatama nripanam. No, we have to enjoy Krishna in this form. As it is Corona. We can't go anywhere outside. No, nothing is really going to take our time. So sit and enjoy these things. Krishna will be really pleased, you know. So this is the Upajati one. So any questions so far? Here now, this Indra Vajra and Upajati, you don't have to confuse too much. Pretty much all medium size. Now first one is short, small. This is medium size. You know? So these tunes, most of the verses are in this particular meter. Now, as Ganeshwara Prabhu asked, how to know which one fits in this thing? One thing is to count the number of aksharas, Prabhus and Matajis. You count the number of aksharas, then if it counts to this number, you can fit in it. Otherwise, very simple way is you just look at the length of the thing, try one or two of these tunes. It will not fit in because the tunes will fit exactly to that particular chanda only. Hare Krishna Mataji. I think Jayanti Mataji raised her hand. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Vaikuntha Prabhu.
Prabhu, the syllables 8 and 11, how to count, Prabhu, that by seeing this law?
No, Prabhu, there's like Dirgha, Hraswa. I mean, today I will not go into that. Maybe, you know, next session I will show you. Like how we said Ra, Ma is 2 syllables.
Okay.
You don't call it as Ra, A, Ma. Not like that. Ra is 1. But it can be Ra also. Rama also, Ra, Ma. That is also 2 syllables only. But it is short and short. You understand? Ra, Ma is long and short. You understand? But
so based on these syllables, we select the tune or?
Yeah, based on the syllables, it will fit into that specific tunes.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Kalacakra Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
What is the difference between Indra Vajra and Upajati?
I told
Being both are the same aksharas. No?
Aksharas is the same, Prabhu, but the thing is, I told you about this Gana, right? Gana means 3 aksharas combined together. They form a specific Ra Gana, Ya Gana, like that. They have different classes. Why it is so is because if suppose you have Ra, Ma, it is 2 long ones, right?
Can you recite the 3-5-40? Can we recite the 3-5-40?
It's the same. You can sing the same in the 3-5-40 also. You can sing in the same way. I will tell you the details here. This one. Why it is in Indra Vajra is because the number of long and short is different. Total number of aksharas is the same, but long and short is different in Indra Vajra and Upajati.
Okay.
So, Datar Yadasmin Bhava Isha Jivas Tapatrayena Bihatana Sharma Atman Labhante Bhagavam Stavangri Chayam Savidya Mata Ashrayema. You may not find a difference when you are singing the tune, but the thing is Datar Yad Asmin Bha Va Isha Ji Was, right? In this you have the long short like that in different combinations, right? That will be different in Upajati and Indra Vajra, Upendra Vajra and so on. That is the only difference. But luckily all these things, all these 11 fit in properly in our in this particular tune, except for one which you will see now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
So you don't have to worry much difference between Indra Vajra and Upajati. But people who are, go deep into this technical thing, they will find out the difference. And there is one more called Upendra Vajra also. That I didn't take that because of, brevity's sake. But all 3 can be sung in the same meter, same chanda, so same tune. Now comes a very interesting one which cannot be sung in this same tune, but they have the same number of syllables, which all of us know this one. This is our Gopika Gitam meter. Gopika Gitam, it is called Indira Chanda Kanakamanjari, 2 names for it, Indira Kanakamanjari. It is also 11 only, but because it is in symmetrical way, it cannot be sung in your way we are singing Indra Vajra and Upajati. You can now see the, what you call the minuteness between the minute differences here, you see. Now, We know Gopika Gitam, all of us know how to sing that, right? If you try to sing that in our normal Kavim Puranam meter, it will not work. But the number of aksharas is the same. You see? Gopya uchuhu jayati te dikam janmana vrajaha shrayata indira shashwadatrahi daita drishyatan dikshutavakas tvayi dhrita savas tvam vichinvate. You try singing this in Kavim Puranam, it will not work. It will not fit. That is the reason is because jayati te dhikam. Jayati, jayati te. All four are short. Adhyikam, this is long. Kam means two letters. Wherever this is coming, it is considered as long or guru. Then jan, ma, na, vrajaha. This particular pattern of short, long, then short, long, short. That same thing will continue across the entire thing. All four will have the same pattern. That's the reason. When you cannot marvel the amount of what you call the thoughts that are put in, while composing these beautiful slokas. Not only they are deep in meaning, but also you see in this that evenness is very, very. I will show you that next time maybe. Right now I don't have it on. But the thing is, the evenness in this is very striking. In like for example, Shra, Yata, Indira, like that. Each one of them will fit into that same type of meter. That's why it is fitting in a special tune. And the second important thing you also notice in this is that Jayati Janmana, Shrayata Shashwat, Daita Dikshu, Twayi Twam. Same, it starts with the same letters, you see. So like that, many interesting, marvelous things are in this when they compose this. That's why Bhagavatam is so sweet, poetically. When you sing this thing, it is so beautiful. Avakatamritam tapta jivanam kavibiriditam kalmashapaham shravana mangalam shrimadatam bhuvi grunanti ye bhurida jana. Like this we can keep on singing, but the beauty here is only these slokas in the entire Bhagavatam are in this Indira Chanda, Kanak Manjari Chanda. No other, only Gopika Gitam is in this specific way it is composed. That's the beauty of this. Shall we go further?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
I hope I'm not boring you with too much of this.
No, it's good, Prabhu. Thank you.
Just so that we can see this. Words are so beautiful. Indra Vajra means it's the Vajra of Indra. Vajra, we have that his Vajra, So it's like that, it creates the how shining that Indra Vajra is, how powerful it is. So this particular Chanda is like that. Same way, it is said, this Bhujanga Prayata. This Bhujanga Prayata is very interesting. Bhujanga means snake, and Prayata means movement, going. So this how the snake is going like in a twist and turns like this, like that. This meter is also arranged in that way. Bhujanga Prayata means it goes twists and turns like this. So if you look at the aksharas, you will get to understand that how it is going this way, that way, like that. Anyway, so we'll go into that shloka. This is 12 syllables, by the way. So when we go into 12 syllables, here onwards it's called Jagati. The class is different, okay? But we don't worry too much about it. Just go on with this. This also you cannot fit in our Kavim Puranam. The previous one, the Upajati. Shri Prajapataya Uchuhu Prajesha Vayam Te Paresha Vishrishta Nayena Praja Vaisrajamo Nishiddha Sayeshatvaya Bhinnavakshanu Jagan Mangalam Sattvamulte Vataraha. This is how we sing this one, slightly different because it is one akshara, one syllable extra. This is that's why it is going like that, like snake, this way, that way, like that it goes. So in the singing also it will go like that. Next one is very interesting. This is our Druta Vilambita. It is again 12 only, but you cannot sing again like how Bhujanga Prayata you sang, you cannot sing Druta Vilambita in that same way. The number of syllables is same, but as I told you, the ganas will be different. So we already sang this 113, you know, our is famous our Damodara Ashtakam meter. No, it also is even. That's why it cannot fit in like in Bhujanga Prayata. This Druta Vilambita is very interesting name. Druta means fast. Vilambita means slow. Like that, you know, longer. So you will see that in this particular meter, one part will be, you will see, you will have to sing long. The another one is you have to sing faster. Slow and fast, like that it will come. For example, Namamishwaram Satchidananda Rupam. Ananda Rupam comes faster, you see. But Namamishwaram Satchid, up to this is slow. Again, Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. Brajamanam comes faster, isn't it? So that's why the name is also very sweet. You can remember with that kind of a thing. This Bhishma Dev's thing we know, all of Bhishma Dev's prayers fall into this Druta Vilambita. That's the only prayer that falls into this Druta Vilambita in the entire Bhagavatam. Maybe one other, I remember one other is also there somewhere, I think Prachetas or somewhere, but Bhishma Dev is quite famous. Iti mati rupa kalpita vitrishna Bhagavati satvata pungave vibhumi Swasukhamupagate kvachit vihartum Prakritim upeyushi yadbhava pravaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This also gives such a pleasing feeling to our minds, you know. With these meters and tunes, you know, we can actually pacify our mind from our agitations and other frustrations or whatever we may have from our material contacts. But it will also improve. Not only that, it will also improve our loving devotion to Krishna. That's the reason our saints and sages have struggled so hard to give us these, you know, sweet gift for us, you know. So poetic. So can we move on? Please tell me whenever we have to stop, Prabhus and Matajis. So the next one is also 12, but it is called Sragvani because again the ganas are different. Let's start this. We have only a few more. Maybe I suggest maybe if you can just hold on, we can complete this. So this is also, because it is evenly placed, it will not fit in the other tune. You know, Brahmana Uchuhu Tankratu Stam Havis Tam Huta Shaswayam Tvam Hi Mantra Samet Darba Patranicha Tvam Sadasya Dvijo Dampati Devata Agnihotram Swada Soma Adyam Pashuku. So this is how we sing this because of the placements of the ganas. Can we go to the next one? Sragvini is another interesting name. Srag means decoration of garland. So somebody who is nicely garlanded with flower, you know, how in flowers we keep the number of flowers evenly placed to have a symmetrically, basically, right? So this in Sragvini, you will see that symmetry also, and nicely offered to Krishna in that name. Next is 13. It is again little bit difficult to. This is, again, the name is very nice. Manju Bhashini means very sweet, and Bhashini means speaking. So it gives a very soft and very sweet words. Sweetly speaking when somebody is speaking. No, it will come like that. So I'll try this. It's a little bit normal. It will. You may not be able to recite it with the other. Shri Manava Uchuhu Manavo Vayam. It goes like this. Manavo vayam tava nideshakarino ditijena deva paribhuta setavaha bhavata kala sa upasamhrita prabho karavamate kim anushadi kinkaran. Like this it goes, So it's slightly different because of the extra syllable and also the different ganas that we have. You may remember this just for these slokas. You don't need to worry too much about it. When these slokas come, you can sing. Otherwise, you try the famous ones. The one good news for you is that 90% of the slokas will fall into the famous 3 tunes. The Anushtup, this our Upajati, and of course this third one which we are going to see, Vasanta Tilaka. This is again beautiful name, Vasanta Tilaka is very pleasing and sweet, a pleasant ornament on Krishna. This is this particular chanda is called Vasanta Tilaka, pleasant ornament for Krishna. All Brahma's prayers, Prahlad Maharaj prayers, Dhruva Maharaj prayers, most of the slokas, I won't say too many, but number of slokas are in this particular meter. That is our Brahma Samhita, we all know, right? Chinta Mani Prakarasadma Shukrup Kalpa Vriksha, that same one, right? We will take this one. This one is very nice. This is the last verse of Kunti Maharani's prayers. We sing like this, the normal one is like this. Sri Krishna Krishna Sakha Vrishni Rishabhavani Druk Rajanya Vansha Dahanana Pavarga Virya Govinda Godvija Surarti Haravatara Yogeshwara Khila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. This is a normal one. No? This is how normally we sing in our Brahma Samhita also. This is Vasanta Tilakam. Normally it is, this meter is called. But then there is one more way you can sing. This is a very sweet one. Shri Krishna Krishna Sakha Vrishni Rishabhavani Druk Rajanya Vansha Dahanana Pavarga Virya Govinda Godvija Surati Haravatara Yogeshwara Khila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. 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 This is such a sweet one. It gives a nice pleasing feeling also when you sing in this specific meter. All Brahma Samhita ones you can sing like this. Shall we go on further? So, Pratibha Mata just raised her hand.
No, Prabhuji, I just thought of telling you can go further. That's why I raised my hand.
You can type it, Mataji, in the chat. Okay, thank you. Now this is a very interesting one again. Malini Chanda. This is in syllables is 15 in number. Don't worry about counting because very few slokas in Bhagavatam are in this meter. Especially the entire Brahmara Gita is in this meter. We'll take this one. Brahmara Gita is the song of the bee, where the gopis, it's a very nice one, Apipata Madhupuryam Aryaputro Dunaste Smarati Sapitragehan Saumya Bandhum Chakopan Kwachidapi Sakatanaham Kinkarinam Granite Bhujama Guru Sugandham Mudnyadasyat kadano. A very, very beautiful meter, this is very nice to sing. We can go on all this. This is the last one in that Brahmara Gita, but every shloka fits in this particular meter. You will not be able to work in any other meter with this one, of any other raga. So there's a very beautiful thing here. So we will go further. If you want to remember this, you can go back to the YouTube recording or whatever and then hear this again once more. Because of the time limit, I'm not repeating them once again here. The next is a beautiful one. This is a Mandakranta. Mandakranta means Manda means slow and Akranta means cry. So this is a slow cry of the devotees to Krishna. That praying, sincerely praying to Krishna. It reveals that in that particular meter itself, that particular feeling will be invoked. So there are two different. There are some shlokas in Bhagavatam, and also we have this famous Shantakaram Bhujagashainam. This, when you sing, it is so beautiful. It has such a beautiful potency. Any kind of our disturbance in our heart will be completely demolished by simply singing in this meter. Very slowly, patiently, and peacefully you have to sing. That's all. This is so beautiful. Barha pidam natavarapuhu karnayo karnikaram vibrat vasaha kanakakapisham Vaijayanti Chamala Randran Veno Adhara Sudhaya Urayan Gopa Vrindai Andaranyam Swapadaramanam Pravishad Gita Kirti. Like this, we sing slowly. See, we have to, when there is long aksharas are there, we have to give maximum time to that long syllable. That's when it will fit in properly. For example, you say, Adhara Sudaya Purayan Kopa Vrindai. Like that, it will fit in properly when you pronounce the long and short properly. That's all. Very simple. Actually, the science behind this is very simple. We have to just get used to that. That's all, So we'll recite that Shantakaram also just for your, it's really relishable to sing. Maharaj used to say this, that when you are talking about Shantakar and you are saying Shantakaram, Bhujashanam, like this you go, even that Shantakar, Vishnu himself will become Ashantakar. So don't make him Ashanti, Just do it very pleasingly, patiently, and let Krishna hear our words properly. He has so many people to listen to. He has given this 2 minutes for us, appointment for us. In the 2 minutes, if we say half a minute itself we want to complete and go, then remaining 1.5 minutes will be wasted. It's so difficult to get Krishna's appointment, So that appointment we should utilize it properly. So we have this Shantakaram Pujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Yogi Hridhyanagamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanaatam. Like this is called Mandakranta. We have just 2 more. We'll quickly finish it off. Next is again It's Shruti Gita. This is also 17 syllable, but it is very unique meter, you know, see, because of that long and short, the ganas and all that. So it's a bit difficult, but we will try to fit into this tune. You know, the Shruti Gita is the most difficult one to sing in the entire Bhagavatam. He Shrutayavuchuhu Jaya Jaya Jahi Ajam Ajita Dosha Kribita Gunam Tvamasi Yadatmana Samavarudha Samasta Bhagaham Agajagadokasham Akila Shaktya Kvachida Jayatmana Charato Nucharenigamaha. This is one particular meter, which is the raga in which you can sing. The other one, which normally fits into the same set of syllables and meter, is our Jagannatha-ashtakam. You know, Kadachit Kalindi Tata Vipina Sangita Karavo. That is more or less fits into the same thing. But the Kadachit Kalindi we sing, no, this is totally different compared to what they sing there in the Puri, you know. I mean, I don't know, of course, because of the musical thing we sing here like that, but how it goes is like this: Kadachit Kalindi. Kadachit Kalindi Tata Vipina Sangita Karavo Mudaviri Nari Kamalavadana Swada Madhupaha Rama Shambhu Brahma Marapatir Ganesha Chitapado Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatume. Like this they sing, you know, in actual Puri. This also you can sing like that, but it will be a little bit difficult to fit in because of the syllables that we have. Anyway, we'll go to the next one. Next one is also 17 again. It's called Shikarini. You know, Shikarini, this is again another beautiful meter. It's a slightly different one. Pura kalpa paye swakrutamudari kritya vikrutam Tvamevadhyastasmin salila uragendra dishayane Puman sheshe siddher hridi vimrishita adhyatma padavihi Saevadhyakshnoryah paticharasi bhrityan avasinaha. This fits in this particular raga nicely, so you can sing in this, but the number of Shikarini is very less in Bhagavatam, maybe 4 or 5 like that, you know. So you can find that here. The next one is the most beautiful one. Shardula Vikridita. You know, Shardula Vikridita, the meaning, the name itself is very beautiful. Shardula means lion, and Vikridita means playing. So this Shardula Vikridita means just like how the lions play with their cubs and all, you know, like you don't know how they are playing. It's like a Gambira. The Gambhirta is there. That you know that what you call majesty is there. At the same time, it is playing. So it will be very sweet to listen to and very powerful and has its authoritative kind of a thing, you know. So that's how the very first verse in Bhagavatam starts with that, and one of the very last verse also is based on the same meter and the raga also. You know this shloka, all of us will be wondering what this how to sing this particular shloka, right? Janmadhyasya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya yatonmaya vitarata Chapteshu Vijñaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Mukhyamti Yat Surayaha Tejo Varim Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra trisargo mrisha tamna sena sada nirasta kupakam satyam param dhimahi. The next one also, Dharma project also in the same meter. And the beautiful thing about this is 12, 13, 19, that verse also ends with same phrase, Satyam Param Dhimahi. The first verse also ends with the same Satyam Param Dhimahi. The last, but 4 verses before, that also ends with Satyam Param Dhimahi. Now, in this itself, there are various variations, little bit variations. Like, we have this one, Shri Krishna Sharanam Samasta Jagatam Krishnam Vina Kagatihi Krishnena Pratihanyate Kalimalam Krishnaya Karyam Namaha. Krishna trasyati kala bhima bhujago Krishnasya dasosmyaham Krishne bhakti rakhandita bhavatu me bho Krishna tvameva Shrayaha. This is another slight variation of this same raga. And the last one, see, you can see how it is like started from 8 and goes up to 21. And I have removed some of them because of brevity sake, because of, I think there are 5 different types of 11 Trishtup itself is there, and 5 different type of Jagati is also there. I mean, we had to limit because of our time, but then by and large these meters, these ragas will fit in. Okay, this last one is Shragdhara. Shragdhara, again, it's like it's a beautiful ornamental flower garland around Krishna. This is the longest in the entire Bhagavatam, and 2 verses you find in this thing. One is in the 9th canto, another is the 10th canto, the last, almost the last verse of 10th canto. So let's go this 9th canto one. I'm doing a simpler one. Maybe there are various other. It goes like this. Purvarte tyakta rajyo vyacharadanvanam padmabadhyam priyaya pani sparshakshmabhyam rijita patarujo yo harindranujabhyam vairopya churpanakya priya viraharusha आरोपिता भ्रू विजृंभ त्रस्ताब्देर बद्ध सेतु कलदवदहनः कोसलेन्द्रोवतान्नः. This is the, simplest one to do because it's a long one, but I did it fast. You may do it slowly also. But if you remember one place, you notice that one. Vairupya churpanakya priyaviraha rusha. Right? It's rusha and aropita. When you sing together, it is rusha or pita. But when you break it, you sing it as rusha and aropita. Vairupya. If you don't put that aropita, it will not fit in the meter. Ropita bru vijramba, it will not fit. It will also not the right way to pronounce. Vairupya churpanakya priyaviraha rusha aropita bru vijramba trastabdir baddha setu kaladavadahanaha kosalendrovataanaha. Like this, we sing. So 8 to 21, we kind of, we were in the ground floor and we went up to the top floor, and now we have to come back. So I stop here. I'm sorry, I know it is an extended session. Extremely sorry for extending your time today, but I hope, I didn't want to stop halfway and do it another day. I hope this is of help to you. If any questions, you can feel free to ask. Otherwise, sorry, Governor Prabhu, again, I'm extremely sorry for extending today's session.
No, not at all. Sorry, Prabhu. So there are devotees still around, and only just a few devotees have left, but the recording is available on YouTube. That was very wonderful, Prabhu. So sometimes we wonder, there are so many verses, and there are these are all different lengths. So how to pronounce, how to recite. So we all wonder, but this is very useful, very, very useful, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your endeavor and for your time. Really appreciate. And let's see if any devotees have any questions or any comments.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, how to memorize the tune? Like you had given, I mean, you had told so many tunes, right? So how to memorize for which one? Yeah, you told that siblings syllable thing and all, but then you know, to memorize.
Is this Pratibha Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. So as I told you, most of them fit in this Anushtuk, Upajati, and Vasanta Tilaka. 90% of them will fit in this three only. Very few are in this other ones, you know, like Gopika Geetam you can remember easily because it is there, everybody knows that. And very few, like, you know, the other ones which I have listed, they are all like, you know, maybe handful of slokas only are like that. So whenever you find something, you know, like unique in this thing, you fit in one of these tunes and it will fit in easily. And some numbers I have already listed here, you know, and some it will somehow fit in, don't worry. And if you really want, then we have this app in which I think Grace Vajanti Mataji has sung the entire Bhagavatam. You can get the tune from there. And the prayers are also there wherever you feel like you can.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, Prabhuji. It was a wonderful session.
Thank you, Mataji. And I was always thinking that, you know, my Guru Maharaj would always say this one thing that always try to fit in the tunes can be different, you know, according to our capacity. Some of them even I have tried myself and also put it in. But the thing is the meter, pronunciation and the raga should fit in that meter. That's it, nothing else. You can find your own tunes also here and there. But the thing is, you know, as long as the pronunciation is correct, it should not be a problem. Most of these what we have sung today are all like traditional way in which our acharyas and all have usually sung, you know. Both north there will be slightly different style, south there will be a different style, but both are having their own love and potency in it. So we can just enjoy Bhagavatam. So today's session is all about enjoying Bhagavatam in that way, Mataji. That's it.
Okay, Prabhuji. So there are plenty of comments saying that they've thoroughly enjoyed and wonderful lecture, and everybody's thanking for your time and for enlightening everyone. So it's like going to secondary school and learning.
One thing I would say, just a closing comment, sorry Prabhu. One thing I would say is that don't immediately get into, you know, like, you know, I want to go for a Sanskrit, a Chandra Shastra and all those things. Don't worry about that. Honestly speaking, I don't know any Sanskrit. Let me tell that openly. I don't know any Sanskrit, no Chandra Shastra, nothing I know. The most important thing is, one devotee told me a beautiful realization, which I thought for a lazy person like me, it is the best realization to you know, meditate on or keep it in our heart. One thing the devotee said was that how much thread you need for a garland, as much as the flowers are there, isn't it? You don't need the thread more than the flowers. As much as the flower is there, that much only thread you want. So Sanskrit knowledge or these things are like, it's like the thread. And flowers are like the prayers and the shlokas and so on, right? So how much ever you need, that much knowledge is enough for us. We are not here to become a Sanskrit scholar or Pandit or whatever. We just want little bit, that much Sanskrit is needed, which will help us offer our loving devotion to Krishna. So we remember this example that you only want that much thread. So this much thread is enough for you, for us, you know. And flowers are there, Bhagavatam slokas are the flowers. As much as we want, we will use it. That much, nothing more than that. We are not going to get a degree in Sanskrit, and Krishna is not going to look at our degree, Sanskrit degrees or other material degrees that we have. He only wants, he is going to look at your love and devotion, and that anything that helps, you will take advantage of that. That's all. Okay. I want to close it with that note, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hare
Look forward to the next session.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. We'll see you week after next. Hare Krishna.
11 July.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhus and
Okay,
Murlis.
so
Anyone else is
Hare
there?
Krishna. There are still devotees
Anybody
just
wants to have
leaving.
any? Sorry, Prabhu?
Devotees are just leaving now. So.
Yeah, they're just leaving. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. That wonderful
Hare Krishna.
session. Appreciate
Hare
it. Yeah.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hari Hari. So I got some questions, but we'll speak offline.
We will speak offline, yes, Prabhu. And devotees also, you can tell them that they can post their comments to you in your WhatsApp group. Any questions they have, I can, like last time we had, we can give offline answers also. Doesn't matter, because we have a 1 week break. Definitely that will be needed. And now next week we will be going into deeper study, Prabhu. Today is more about enjoying the recitation part of it, singing part of it, and the prayers and those things, the shlokas. Soon we will get into the deeper study, group study, and so on. Krishna will help. Thank you, Prabhu. You are really arranged this wonderful session, and we are grateful to.
I'm only servant of all the Vaishnavas. I'm not doing anything. You are doing the hard work, Prabhu. I'm just putting the Zoom on. That's it.
No. Zooming is required.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
They're saying Hare Krishna to you. You can come there. Yeah.
It's okay. Don't worry. We will.
What Mataji is saying is that. What Mataji is saying is that she will come after you stop recording.
All right. Okay. Yes. No problem. Okay. So I'll do that now. Hari Hari.
Yeah.
Hare.
She is coming. Lalita Mataji wants to see you.
No. We'll make a video call. Don't worry. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay, Prabhuji. I'm ending the call now. Thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare